gender equity. Similarly, teachers as well as students created and circulated a number of stereotypical gender discourses through their talks, actions, and interactions in the classroom. For example, teachers have had different expectations from girls and boys for social and emotional abilities. Hence, their interaction patterns also differed. For example, girls were positioned to be very sensitive and shy, while boys are established as problem makers and challenging. And based on these expectations, teachers treat these children very differently. Boys are often disciplined, they are punished, they are penalized. However, girls are based on their expectation that they are very shy and sensitive, so they cannot tolerate the disciplinary practices. So they are they are not face those challenges. And I interacted with boys and girls also and found that they have sexist preferences for their friends, play materials, and playmates. Boys and girls both, they refuse to play with the other gender peers. They did not like to play, don't want to play with girls because they cry so quickly and they complain to the teachers. So we want to be safe, so it's better not to play with each other. So these are the issues existing in current classrooms. And displays, I have also analyzed displays and other text also. So the significant among them was one of the display presented all the sexist career options to children. So based on this display, we also conducted an activity with children. They drove their career aspirations. We asked them and we discussed with them that what they wanted to be when they are older. So we found that almost all the boys aspired to traditionally masculine fields such as engineering, driving, business, piloting, medicine as doctors and army officers. However, 70% of girls aspire to traditionally feminine careers such as doctors, nursing, teaching, cooking. And one of the girls insisted to be a mother only. She did not like to pursue any career other than mothering. So these were some of the findings from the research, from this part of the research. And these findings have serious implications for all the stakeholders, including parents, caregivers, teachers, policymakers. So here in this slide, I am presenting implication for parents and families, caregivers, and teachers together because they relate to both of them. For example, girls and boys, we have already talked about it in the morning session, that they should be regarded as children, not girls and boys. They should be regarded as children having equal capabilities, rights, and aspirations. Similarly, both of them, girls and boys, should be treated with respect, dignity, and trust. And these children should be provided with range of toys when they are very, very young kids, when they are even when they are born. We should provide them with toys which can be used by both girls and boys. We should not give them sexist toys to play. Similarly, both girls and boys need to be engaged in multiple cross-gender role plays, games, and sports so that their imaginations are broader. So that's why we need to give them multiple opportunities to explore. They should be encouraged to identify with all the colors of rainbow, not only pink and blue. Pink for girls and blue for boys. That is also channelizing them. And it has a lot of implication for the girls because Barbie doll, pink Barbie doll. So girls are mostly focusing on their looks and their looks and their bodies, and they avoid they avoid health and other aspect of life. Similarly, from very early age, non-sexist books should be read with the children, should be provided to them, so that again their imaginations does not block, and they get their real role models from both men and women in their daily lives. Non-sexist language should be used to address both girls and boys from very beginning at homes and in the classrooms in school or daycare centers. girls and boys should be complemented for variety of attributes, rather only attributes for beauty for the girls or cuteness of girls or strength of boys. So both should have range of complements so that they both develop to their fullest potentials. So they have high expectations for their own development. For policymakers, I urge that all the teachers need to be equipped with critical and reflective skills. For particularly for ECE teachers, reflective ability will help them recognize, question, take actions and transform not only their own beliefs and practices, but also they will help to transform children's and their parents and communities' beliefs and practices about gender and early childhood education. And similarly, I urge the policymakers to include gender in both pre-service and in-service teachers training so that they can identify, so they can first learn the knowledge about what is gender and how to incorporate that gender equity into their own their classroom practices and in their daily lives. And in conclusion, I recommend that all the stakeholders, including policymakers, curriculum planners, textbooks and literature publishers or writers, toys manufacturers, educational leaders and managers, and parents and community must be aware about the negative implications of gender stereotyping and gender typing and gender discourses, negative gender discourses for the overall development of children, and how it can help, how eradicating of gender issues can help the government and all of us to achieve the sustainable development goals. So thank you very much.
When already a magic has been set up. So in a very short span of time, I would like to break the spell which already has been set on the stage. My presentation is not a research or literature review methodology or traditional conventional methods because this is innovation. So I would like to share my work which we have collectively as team performed on ground level working with teachers in Bahria Foundation. Overview of today's presentation is yes, to introduce my foundation with you, to share the practices of ECE in Bahria Foundation colleges, to exhibit the processes of the development of ECE system in Bahria Foundation colleges, to contribute the efforts made for designing ECE curriculum and development of textbooks for pre-primary classes. Introduction, this is a famous institution, a subsidiary of Pakistan Navy. We have 73 campuses all over the country. We have 3 regional offices. One is in South, Center, and North. Fortunately, Alhamdulillah, the God has given the responsibility on our shoulder of 26,000, more than 26,000 children of the country, and a group of faculty and non-faculty members of 4,000 approximately. Teachers' professional development is a focus, and including with providing the quality education to the children. For this purpose, best programs are designed in-house, and outsourced sources are also hired for teachers' continuous professional development. But mainly we focus that how we could obtain and avail the informal settings for teachers' own professional development in the classroom, because it is always difficult to take them out from their classes and from their burden. This is the common dilemma in our most of the private settings. Practices which I would like to share before starting this project, or normally in our country are being practiced. In BFC, we give admission to the students of age from 2.5 to 3 years, and purpose is to readiness for class 1. So since yesterday we have talked a lot about the ECD, but my presentation focuses only ECE, early years, early childhood education, because in our setting we are providing and we are preparing the children for their mainstream classes, because whenever we get a certificate of matriculations, these 3 years are not mentioned, but are very crucial. Enhancement of competencies by developing learning attitude, assimilation of knowledge, sharpening the skills. In general, in schools, competencies are enhanced in different settings. For example, generally in Pakistan, child care center, daycare center, nursery schools, preschools, pre-kindergarten, Montessori, and early education, etc. But what I have been observed as a ground level practitioner, that we are following so many concepts and approaches, but not fulfilling all approaches in actual and true spirits. We have made an amalgam of all the approaches. So ECE and ECED is the best title for all approaches bringing together to work in the classroom settings. So as I mentioned, it was not in its true spirit, so it was a challenge for us to develop our teachers how to overcome these challenges without within a limited resources, limited time, and teachers ko bhi bagair bother kiye hue. Development through practices and experiential learning. So the model which I selected, you may consider it as an approach of action research as well, an experiential model. Very shortly, I would like to share one of the definition of experiential learning. In its simplest form, experiential learning means learning from experience or learning by doing. Experiential education first immerses learners in an experience and then encourages reflection about the experience to develop new skills, new attitudes, or new ways of thinking. So these were the areas which we found lacking to some extent in our teachers, and we designed this model. So this is, you may find this everywhere, COP cycle of experiential learning. These are the 4 steps of the cycle, which is very common. People already are very much familiar and await those who are mainly engaged in researchers. The first step was to observe the system, the practices, our own weaknesses, strengths. So we observe, analyze perceptions as well. Observation which we found were untrained staff, definitely. Because ECE, the concept is not very much newer, but a lot of has not been done in terms of teachers' professional development. Now, yesterday we heard that some of the government initiatives have been taken for preparing the courses for preparing teachers 4 years degree programs and other courses as well. So many institutions are providing the teachers' professional development in ECE, but this is mainly remained in few activities and how to teach them the A, B, C, D and Alif, Be like this. Standardization of whole system, lacking of written document. So it was a most important observation and finding that yes, if there is no documentation, a policy, a guideline or a book or some set criterion and benchmarks, so we won't be able to achieve our targets. what we desire. Therefore, processes of system development for pre-primary education in BFC was initiated. In first phase, the selected team of teachers from BFC Karachi designed a set of core competencies. The second phase was to develop workbooks. After observation, we set a platform for the reflection, and for reflection, we selected many methodologies: SWOT analysis, focus group discussions, meetings, document analysis. These are some sample of those. And most importantly, before starting the work and assigning the task, we did a short survey with the teachers with their own interest. How do they think in what area they think that they are more comfortable and capable? So it was their willingness. They were motivated by their own choice in which area they want actually to work. This is the work. If I would, if many of you have worked with teachers, if we have teachers in this room, this is a kind of work which is already done by teachers very unwillingly in our schools after the classes. They have to prepare the students' children's books, and it takes a lot of time. When teachers are already very good at art and writing and designing the copies, this is wonderful. If teachers are unable to prepare such work, then it becomes very difficult. They feel frustration, they compromise from their improvement. After all these observations, one of the constraints was that we were unable to invest a huge fundings for teachers' development, and yes, the time constraint. Because continuous academic sessions do not allow us to take the teachers out very frequently. So this model helped us by working in the classes and developing their competencies. Now the time for planning to bridge in the gap between the policymakers and the implementers, which is very obvious. We listened to the teacher's voice. We included the teacher's voice. On each and every step, our teachers were the actual part of designing and developing the system. Frequent meetings with Montessori staff with purpose to analyze the current practices for executing initiatives of systems improvement by formulating curriculum and other relevant documents. And see, when teachers are given such chances to come out the classes and sitting with heads and directors and high officials, they feel pride. And they do their work willingly. And it is, maybe I might be wrong in my perceptions, we underestimate the teachers. We do not believe in their competencies. We can bring the magic in the education by working with these bright, vibrant and very talented individuals, just to polish them, skill them. This is the work, even before starting the project. And these are the settings mostly in interior SIN classes, not in urban settings. So we started working upon developing a school-based curriculum, because already we have the national curriculum. So taking in as a reference in line and taking some other countries' curriculum documents which are designed very well, we started working upon our own school-based curriculum. आप लोग सब जानते होंगे school-based curriculum, the difference between the school-based curriculum and the national curriculum. When I show this document to my teachers and ask them, have you ever seen this? Not a single teacher saw this document before. So it was the gap. It was the gap. It should be in each and every classroom settings in the hands of the teachers. Acha, Now, observe one thing, the difference between the private settings and government settings. When I showed this document, most of my teachers were in awe and wonder situation. Ma'am, हम तो इससे बहुत ज़्यादा कर रहे हैं. Am I right? Yes. What has been guided and written in this document, my purpose is not to critique or to underestimate the efforts put in, because हमारे यहाँ बहुत सी चीज़ें बहुत late शुरू हुई हैं. This is wonderful, at least कोई काम तो हुआ है और यहीं से हमने भी शुरू किया है. So teachers went through all the competencies which are mentioned, and it was the first document. It has been reviewed in 2007 as well. That is comparatively better. And we started working upon this document. Acha, before working on this document, really some theoretical underpinning was required. To some extent, academic literacy is very important to be known by the teachers, because if they are going to write an academic document, so they must be familiar with that particular language and the content which has been to be developed in the document. So we worked upon that areas as well, not hectically or very much, but what was our requirement. During the early childhood, this is the story which is since yesterday we are having. I just would like to share the domains. Every one of you know the domains, developmental domains, those who are working, and everyone is definitely working in the ECE and ECD and different kind of early childhood settings. So when we reviewed the literature or the documents or curriculum of Pakistan and different countries, we found mainly 5 developmental domains are taken under consideration. By focusing one of the area, which is really a hot cake topic, the societal development, the norms of society, behaviors, attitudes, and the stuff of what kind of stuff of the society we are getting these now. हम उसको root cause को नहीं address करते. हम कहते हैं people negative हैं, frustrated हैं, violent हैं, but how? Overnight नहीं हुआ. What was the missing actually? Or what we actually stopped working in our classroom settings. So it will, the next step, spiritual development. When I went through this literature review, I found many of the written documents in other countries, they did work. People asked me, why are you taking this domain? ECE, how could we develop this domain in ECE? But in West, they are doing the work, and we are ignoring. The child spends more than 5 years or 5 hours or 4 hours in a school setting, फिर कारी साहब आ जाते हैं. तो ये कहाँ उनको किया जाएगा? Personal, social, emotional, developmental domain, cognitive development, physical development, logical thinking and environment, creative and aesthetic sense. This is the framework on which we developed our document. ACT, this is the time of ACT. Curriculum, which these are the characteristics. Flexibility को मैं इस तरह share करूँगी कि based on that curriculum document, we have given the choices to the regional levels. They have developed on their own books. Organization or structure. Spiritual, ethical, and national patriotism development to remain. Thank you for reminding me the time. My high official asked me, how are you going to develop the national patriotism at 2.3? So what should be the answer? भाई पे से पत्ता पढ़ाना बंद करो, पे से परचम पढ़ाना शुरू कर दो. वर्क स्टार्ट हो जाएगा नहीं हो जाएगा? फा से फ्लावर के बजाय फ्लैग दिखा दें पाकिस्तान का. पे से vocabulary देना है बच्चे को. The purpose is to give the vocabulary. So this is the organizational structure. We gave the name, nomenclature, early learning developmental domain, and these are 6 developmental domain. Okay, and each developmental domain has been developed by setting goals along with clearly stated targets based on learning outcomes to achieve the holistic development of children. Acha, how does it works? Abbreviations stand for the following. ELDD1 standard for Early Learning Developmental Domain 1. G stands for goal. Each developmental domain have at least 4 goals, goal A, B, C, D. ELT stands for Early Learning Targets. Each goal have more than 2 targets, for example, ELT1 or ELT2, 3, 4. So this is the organizational structure of our school-based curriculum document. This is an example, one of the page of the first learning developmental domain. The generic statement states, nurture children to attain awareness of self, others, nature, and environment by developing set of values, religious beliefs, which inform their perspective on life and pattern of behaviors. They also need to know and learn principles of good citizenship, so those young generations can develop national patriotism, love, and loyalty to our country from the early life of stages. 3 बातें हैं इसमें. So we have 3 goals. One for the citizenship, one for the religious beliefs and spirituality, and one is for their self-understanding. And the further is developing. I would like to share only one. Children will get the introduction and will know the importance of teachings and incidents, aims of the life of the Holy Prophet, other prophets, and the spiritual personalities of other religions. Children will develop the habit to remember Allah. This is a long story of the targets and goals. Based on these targets and goals, the story is not finishes. Then, according to each and every learning target, we give the topic to the teachers, then methodology, and to suitable content as well. Content is not limited and not fixed. Teachers may choose their content as well. So this is the syllabus framework based on those learning developmental domains and targets. Books, we develop books, Wonderland of Alphabets, Huruf Ki Aankh Micholi, Wonderland of Numbers. In this, we tried an innovation to bring different activities, sandpaper activities se sab log yahan waqif honge. Sensorial and physical developmental domain, where larger and smaller muscles are developed. So we put, this is the instructional page. Look, say, feel, and trace. Mostly workbooks are started only by tracing, but this is look, say, feel. This is a surface which is obvious, and the child practice the formation by touching this surface. So these are little variations. We have not invented the wheel again, but we have bring some necessary changes, because going so beyond to the ground practices will not make the concrete results. So what is actually is being done, we develop, we try to improve those works. These are the classroom settings of our interiors in classes. Thank you very much for giving me the time for sharing all this work. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. I already been asked कि मैं थोड़ा सा precise रहूँ, time बिल्कुल कम है और President साहब की security भी आ गई है, तो I will try my best to be on the time. मैं यहाँ पर रूपानी फाउंडेशन का ओवरऑल प्रोग्राम को डिस्कस नहीं करूँगी, क्योंकि शॉर्ट और प्रिसाइज रहना है, तो आई वुड बी मोर फोकस्ड ऑन आवर वन ऑफ द प्रोग्राम उम्मीद इज़ होप. We strongly believe on this African proverb, it takes the whole village to raise a child. इसको हमने अपना स्लोगन बनाया हुआ है और we strongly believe because we feel that the community is the main stakeholder for child development. अगर हम community को involve करते हैं बच्चे की development में तो हम बहुत ज़्यादा काम कर सकते हैं. And in our programs we involve grandparents, parents, fathers and all family members who are included in joint family system. So we are more focused on the community. Rupani Foundation is founded in 2007 under the company's Ordinance 42, 1984, and it's also a public charity in USA, Tajikistan and Afghanistan. We have set some beliefs and maybe this please.
Yeah.
बस ठीक है आप इसको बैक करना है. We set some beliefs. We say that seek knowledge from cradle to grave. The lap of mother is the first school of a child, and we also strongly believe on child rights and for basic principles of child rights. And child rights and child protection is the main component of our all programs. And we say we also believe that a child with strong moral value can be the harbinger of change in the society. Home is the first school and parents are the best teachers. Because we say that usually we all know that children are in school for just 4 hours, 5 hours, and the rest of the time they are with their parents. If we train parents properly, then the development of child can be we can make sure the development, proper development of child. So we more focus on parents development and parents training, और हम parents को अपनी training का बाकायदा program का हिस्सा बनाते हैं. And every week we used to conduct sessions for parents with their children, that how to teach children at their homes. And secondly, we also teach these parents how to create low cost, no cost material at home, and how to deal children according to their psychology, and what are the basic needs of these children. So parents are very important in our program. And we include all families, and we also believe that all families and their children deserve to have the best possible opportunities to succeed. To address this main belief, we focus the most marginalized families and most marginalized communities in interior part of Sindh and the far-flung areas of northern Pakistan, Afghanistan and Tajikistan. And our main focus is the most marginalized, and we used to have different surveys for these to identify these marginalized and underprivileged communities. And a comprehension and appreciation of the history and diversity of cultures is essential in serving families. So we also focused on diversity and pluralism. We have set an ECD vision, which is to create a sustainable society for future generation by promoting the holistic development of children prenatal to 8 years by providing essential ECD services at household and community level in susceptible and marginalized communities to developing countries. Our program objectives are create hope for the rural underprivileged by using education as a tool to overcome the poverty cycle, introduce new educational models that redresses the balance and bridges the gap between rural and urban settings, prepare the child for tomorrow's challenge world through emotional, social, physical, intellectual, and ethical development. Transform the home from family-centered to a child-centered environment. So we work with the families, and we used to visit the homes और घर के अंदर जाके our teachers, our FSMs, family support motivators used to stay with the family for 2 hours, and they help these families to develop home corners and develop materials at home, so that the mother and the whole family will help their children to develop potentially. Inculcate universal values of pluralism, ethics, diversity, as I said before. These are the ECD models which Rupani Foundation is mainly focused on. The first is Aga Walden, which is prenatal to age 3, where we target from youth, then newlywed couples, and after that pregnant mothers, and then after delivery at 3 months we register the child at our centers. So this program is a holistic program where we also have sessions for fathers, for grandparents, and for mothers also. And the second program, which is I'm more focused on, is Umeed, which is 3 to 8, and it is the proper and complete schooling program. And we in Umeed program we are working with community-based schools in interior Sindh and northern part of Pakistan, where the community is very marginalized. And the third program is FICD, Family Involvement for Child Development, where we train mothers to prepare for their child development. Okay, I have got indication to just clear. I would like to share a video with you, which is just 2 minutes. इसको just close करके video. जिस video है इसको share कर लेना. This is a very brief video. Please just have a look at this.
In Sindh, Umeed was started to cater the needs of children over 3 years of age, going up to 7 years.
This program is based on 4 classes, ECD 1 to ECD 4. In ECD 1, we enroll 3-year-olds who stay in ECD 1 till 4 years of age, ECD 2 till 5, ECD 3 till 6, and ECD 4 till 7 years of age. ECD 4 is grade 2, which is where our students graduate.
Under the umbrella of Rupani Foundation, 6 Umeed centers are running in community-based schools in different areas of Sindh.
Umeed is a program for communities with limited resources as determined through surveys. The goal is to develop these communities from educational, economic, and livelihood development aspects.
One of the primary challenges being faced is regarding raising awareness among parents and communities at large about the importance of early childhood development.
We created a group of volunteers and engaged young girls who are themselves studying, and we trained them in early childhood development.
I've learned a lot by teaching things that I did not realize before. I learned how to effectively teach children.
Today, kids like to learn by playing games, with toys, and with poems and stories.
When I came here and saw the love of teachers here, it felt like my own parents were here. I have learned a lot.
There's a mother here whose name is Shazia too. So her child said to me that I have one mother here and one at home.
In the first class, I was taught discipline, manners, and how to talk to elders.
When the 2.5 years old enters into the ECD program, he surprises his parents about the extent of quick learning that he is capable of. It is almost as if ECD students are teaching or guiding their parents.
Whatever I end up becoming when I grow up, I want to make my parents proud.
Respected audience, I've got somebody very special sitting in the audience who I believe is one of those educationists who inspires a lot of us, and I'm definitely one of them, Dr. Shaheen Atikur Rahman. Thank you very much, ma'am, for being here. dear presenters, I think there's a lot we've learned today. There's a lot we keep doing, and very rightly pointed out that we don't really need to reinvent the wheel. I would not want to emphasize on the importance of ECCE, and clearly, I mean, that's one area where when we started to come up with this reform agenda for Government of Pakistan, the Prime Minister's education reform, I did realize that this was one of those missing links, because in public sector schools, we start the schooling from KG, which is age 5. And as per the constitutional responsibility of the state, we are to teach, provide free and compulsory education to every child from the age of 5 to 16. But I think that the very foundation essentially starts from much earlier. So obviously we had this challenge as to how we can start off an early years or perhaps a Montessori section in the public sector. So we thought about it, and instead, like again rightly pointed out by one of the presenters, that instead of reinventing the wheel, we thought that we should essentially go out, look at some of these success stories which are indigenous success stories, which are private sector schools who've been running their early years programs for many years. So we sat with them, and instead of dictating our terms, we told them that let's agree to certain learning outcomes for the students. So we locked the learning outcomes, and then we went to different, we went to some NGOs. Parwan is a partner. This is, by the way, last year when we started off this program. And then we went to some private sector schools. So we locked the learning outcomes for these students, and we asked them to come and implement the early years program in 11 of these public sector schools. So which has been extremely successful. These kids are graduating this year, and because of the success of this program, we are essentially going to scale it to about 70 public sector schools in Islamabad. The point I'm trying to make here is that lots of times we are too busy either looking towards donors or either looking towards some international models, and without tailoring them to our requirement, we try to apply them across the board. I think we've got some amazing success stories out there. We've got indigenous models which are doing amazingly well. All we have to do is to kind of tailor them to our requirement and try to kind of implement those things which are tried and tested. At the end, I would like to thank the organizers of this conference. I think this again is a great opportunity for all of us to learn of some of these amazing success stories or amazing ideas which are all out there, but unfortunately we never get to hear about them, because unfortunately we end up working in our silos. I think these platforms provide us with an opportunity to learn from each other. Thank you very much.
Sir.
5 to 16 की Malik Tahir Iqbal, Executive Director, Legal Right Forum based in Karachi as an advocate. हम ये suggest करना चाह रहे हैं 5 to 16 के लिए state responsible है, provincial government responsible हैं. इस age को 3 तक लाया जाए या इससे भी कम लाने की कोशिश की जाए. Policy जो होती है उसके लिए state responsible नहीं है, ना provincial government responsible है. I suggest कि हम इस age limit को 5 से 3 पे लेके और दूसरा मैं एक प्रेजेंट हुई है फाखरा नजीब आई थिंक सो मॉडल, उसको अगर गवर्नमेंट भी अडॉप्ट करे तो रूरल एरियाज़ में एक्सीलेंस मैं समझता हूँ ये प्रोग्राम चल रहा है, तो गवर्नमेंट इसको अडॉप्ट करे, परवान की तरह जैसे डिफरेंट हो रहे हैं. दिस इज़ अ गुड अपॉर्चुनिटी. थैंक यू.
Thank you so very much for being a wonderful audience. Sir.
Creating units, sir. Yeah. So the reforms we are bringing in, we are trying to model them in Islamabad, but definitely these are some of those recommendations we can pass on to our colleagues in the federating units, and we can definitely look at it.
HEC is looking after it. He's the planner.
No, but after devolution, I think the provinces, the federating units are more responsible for all the universities that are being constructed in their area. So we can definitely talk to the federating units.
Sir, thank you so very much.